so let's just set the stage of what's going on. I think everybody knows, but Algonquin is up for sale.
Meantime, Algonquin's Perth campus is officially up for sale. It's one of the drastic measures the college is taking to address a multi-million-dollar budget deficit.
44,000 square foot facility. It's been in the community for 50 years. Not everybody knows that. In 2010, it had about $10 million pumped into it, half by the feds and half by the province. And I'll talk a little bit why that's important to the strategic plan later. What was it known for? It's funny, I look around the room and I see many people who worked there, who graduated from there. It has an incredible, stellar, local, national, and international reputation for turning out, as Chris said, craftspeople and artists that know how to do heritage renovation. It's a credit to everyone who works there and everyone who goes there. The Heritage Trades program, mostly joinery, carpentry, and masonry were the big ones. There was an emerging one that Algonquin has mothballed. It was a Bachelor of Science in Heritage Construction Management, a really innovative thing. And then there's a team of us who are really interested in putting together a plan to see if we can keep the college in the town. Algonquin knows of our intentions, but is being sort of cagey with dealing with us. And maybe I'll talk a little bit later about why I think that is and what we can do to make them less cagey. Frankly, one of the things is when 200 people in the community show up and say they care, people will listen to that. So that's really important. And we require the government, the provincial government specifically, their support in making sure we can do the next step. You don't have to read it, and you probably can't if you're back further than 3 rows. So I'll give you a synopsis. I didn't really know this, and I suspect maybe some of you didn't. The relationship between community colleges and the province is one where the province essentially funds all community colleges through tuition. All right, and so community colleges work almost as, I don't know if you call them crown corps or crown agencies. They have some autonomy, but they get most of their money from the province, and mostly in the form of tuition. The college can go out and be entrepreneurial, but mostly in spaces where it's private training or international students. Hold that thought. Because what's happened now is that a lot of the funding to the colleges has been slowed down or frozen for a long time. The colleges naturally go out looking for new sources of revenue. They went and looked for foreign students, and then the feds turned foreign students off. Now, I think I could sit here and say, I think I could have saw that coming. I don't think I would have put all my eggs in one basket. But nonetheless, that's where we are. And it's in such a bad way that these colleges, 24 of them or so, are in dire financial need all around the province. So this is not just an Algonquin situation. This is a community college situation all around the province. This is pulled right from Algonquin College's own notes. This is Claude Brulé. He's the president. And you can see here the basic premise of this note is we got to tighten the belt. We're going to be about $100 million in the hole next year, and we have to shed some assets. All right. So again, I don't think there's any villains in this story. I think Algonquin College is doing what they think they have to do. I just don't think it needs to be done on the back of this community. That's my approach to Claude Brulé. That's what I've been saying to the province. I understand money has to come from somewhere, but there's a solution that can keep the college in this community. So again, another sort of arcane and esoteric slide. You don't need to read it. When you disperse of an asset of this size, there's an actual process that you have to follow. And the first one is that any other ministry can stick their hand up and say, we'll take that asset. So for example, in our case, maybe health or corrections could stick their hand up and say, yeah, we'd love to put a jail in Perth. That's a nice thing to do. We're talking to the province to make sure none of that happens. And I was going to call him out later, but I'll call him out right now. MPP John Jordan, who's here, who'll say a few words, has been exceptionally helpful in helping navigate Queen's Park so that we do not put a corrections institute there. Then it goes down this hierarchy of needs, and other schools can put up their hands, but as I just told you, other schools are in the same straits. And then lastly, it may come to a municipality. And this is sort of legal gray, in a legal gray space right now. And when it does come to a municipality, and there's precedent here, it's always bad news. There's local precedent. Kemptville College, it was a 600-acre college with hundreds of people, and it's sat now mothballed for years as a glorified dog park. So the other thing that the colleges need to hear and the province needs to hear is there's a community of interest here that can actually make a thriving college work. Do not mothball it because you don't have the imagination to work with a community group.
Here, this year, Algonquin College announced it would be closing its Perth campus in August 2026 due to financial shortfalls. A real estate listing by CBRE shows 5 buildings on the more than 12-acre plot for sale, but with no list price.
Been appraised, CBRE, the commercial realtor, has appraised it at 12 to 14 million bucks. You can access this online. And my take is to Algonquin, and what they have said to me is, I'd like to collaborate with you so we can work out how to get the college. You know, I'm happy to pay some money for the curricula in the college and the building. And they say, it's online. You can buy it. And I just think, one, that's not a very helpful posture of theirs. And two, I don't think it's theirs to sell. We make a lot about this Save Our College. You see these signs everywhere. And I want to make an argument that it is our community college. Now, why do I make that argument? So in 2010, the feds put $4.5 million bucks in, and the province put $4.5 million bucks in. Also, unstated in any of these press releases, there was about $1 million raised in the community that went in there, often in money or in kind. And I run into people all the time. They're like, we donated money. My father donated, my grandmother donated money. And I find it galling that Algonquin College wants to take money from the province, money from the feds, money from the community, make me, pay for it, and then I have to invest money again to run it. And I just think there's a better way. I don't mind putting a lot of money in it. I'm not asking to have it for free, very far from it. I just want to come to a deal that is fair for the community and fair for the group of us that's doing it. I just want to highlight again, the community college here will be run as a not-for-profit. I will never make a cent off it. This is an entirely pro-social community endeavor. And so for me, thank you, yes, thank you. If you look at their mandate, it was set up in a pro-social way. That's why community colleges exist. They exist to educate people in community. And so all I'm doing is saying, we'll do it if you can't. Here's a press release. Don't read that either. So this is from the Minister, John Baird. Go to the next slide, because this is what I really want. Here's the key to that press release. It was said, it'll create jobs in the short term and ensure Algonquin's Perth campus. So it was money invested right in our community for heritage trades for years to come. This is Minister Baird who said that at the time. And again, I just find it galling that they would deviate from this mandate where it was so explicit for what the money was for. All right, so that's sort of like the political, economic reason why I think the college should stay in Perth. But there's actually far more deep and profound reasons. And this is the one I'm going to make. I don't know if anyone knows, this is from the National Trust. But this was an initiative to essentially clean up Canadian downtown cores. And clean up, I mean, because a lot of them were dingy. I would even say Perth was a little dingy in the 70s, those of us who can remember it. And there was an initiative that said, hey, what if we went back to those original buildings? What if we exposed stone? What if we had original windings? Everything that Perth is now was essentially architected by many people, but one person specifically, which is John Stewart. Is John here? Yeah, just stick your hand up, John. Yeah. I love this Pierre Burton quote, right? It's the downtown core is your identity, it is your soul, it's where people meet at a pub, it's where friends meet at a coffee shop, it's where tourists come to walk around. We are all very proud of how Perth looks. John Stewart ensured that Perth looked that way. John Stewart ensured that hundreds of other communities around Canada could learn from what Perth did. So that's one of the reasons why the college belongs here. This whole heritage downtown movement was started here in Perth in the late 70s. I've just pulled this shot right from the National Trust. That's Kelly's Flowers, right? They're right there. They're right there. Right? This is the pamphlet that everybody in Canada gets, right? Hundreds of Canadian communities benefited for what we knew in Perth, right? And what we know in Perth, there is deep knowledge, there's thick knowledge. There's hundreds of people in this community who know how to build those things, who know how to consult on those things. If we lose the college, we lose that living, breathing cultural fabric. And that's a shame. I love this quote, isn't Pierre Burton, but it's not just physical and economic, it's cultural and human assets. That's what a beautiful downtown brings, and that's what a community who knows how to build beautiful things brings. At this point, I'm repeating myself, but I did want to write down, just so I could call out, it wasn't just John Stewart. There was, and his company Commonwealth, many people here, actually just fun, show of hands, who worked for John Callender and Associates? I know there's a bunch of people here. All right, you guys are old. Dave Osborne. I put Dave Osborne's name up there, Sentwood Mercer. There's like an Abrahamic tree of branching from a bunch of people who did really interesting work, and they went on and on. Sentwood Mercer is some. There's lots of people who worked there, and now there's a new generation. Sean Keyes and Andy Coburn. There's lots of people in the room who've continued this amazing craft technique that we only get here. The one obvious thing too is like the terminus of the UNESCO World Heritage Site just makes this an ideal spot. There is an argument that the whole town should be a registered UNESCO Heritage Site. The only thing that I think it would just probably gum up the works when it comes to getting permits and stuff, but there is an argument that this whole town is beautiful, unique enough to be a cultural artifact that the whole world deserves to see. This I barely need to say. It just gives you economic data that the country needs more tradespeople. I think that's the most, when I launched my memo in Build Canada, the Progressive Conservative Party picked it up, the Liberal Party picked it up almost word for word, and the NDP picked it up. If those three parties are singing from the same song sheet, you know people agree there needs to be more tradespeople. And what it says there is the things that we know. They're high-paying jobs, and many of the good people and the skilled people are about to retire, and so we need new people going into it. One last thing before we leave this slide. I worked my entire life in tech, and I'm telling you, there's a thing coming down the pipe. It's an AI future that is going to radically change our relationship to employment. Many of the things that we previously did that we thought made us creative, synthesizing, bright human beings, we are no longer going to trust because an AI is going to do it. What we're going to trust is the things we can do with our hands, the things we see with our eyes, and things like the culinary arts and the trades. Those things are going to rise in esteem, and we're going to want to get better and better and better at them. And this place actually could be a world center at a whole new pedagogical approach to how we train those things and how we teach people to be more engaged, more embodied, more in situ, more tactile, right? Those are things that could happen right here. So this comes right from Algonquin. Direct economic impact of the college is $7.5 million per year. And Chris told me that is a very, very modest and conservative estimate, and it's the amount of teaching money, and it's the students spending money. Remember, there's hundreds of young people who rent rooms. There's hundreds of young people who go out for meals, right? It's a very dynamic and vibrant part of the community. The question I ask is, imagine what it would be like if it was actually run with local interests and not outside interests. If we actually if we could build dormitories, if there's so much economic potential just in keeping the college, that 7.5 easily could be 3, 5, 10 times the impact in the community. If you go to these little New England towns, and often they'll have right at the center, like a beautiful old liberal arts college, a town of 6,000 people just like us, and it makes the place vibrant. They have bookstores, they have restaurants, they have pubs, they have foreign visiting lecturers, they have interesting people from all around the world. That could be Perth's future if we play it right. So what are we going to do? So what's the plan? So there's essentially three major stools. The first one is we're going to reinstitute the things that the college did exceptionally well. Specifically, a college degree in masonry and a college degree in joinery and carpentry. Right? That's the world-class stuff that it's really renowned for. We're going to try to put back on the books the Bachelor of Science. That's going to pull a different constituency in. We can have kids come here and they can get a university degree to do that work. The curricula is already built, again, by the same craftspeople who built the other curricula. That's ready to go. And I think it can be an enormous hit. The second thing we'll do is we can use those facilities for upskilling and training of local labor. Right now, there's not enough interoperability between lots of the construction firms that I talk to, the big ones and the little ones. There's no reason why we can't do all kinds of training there. We couldn't have junkets and conferences. So it can just be better utilized and better monetized. And the third one is like the big picture, which is to become an international center recognized for heritage excellence. So we could run conferences where we invite Japanese woodworkers and Norwegian paint experts and French stonemasons. And they could come from all around and they could teach, and hobbyists could learn. And so this could be a mecca for that kind of thing. Yeah, clap, that's good, clap away. I don't mind that. We've asked Algonquin College and the Ontario government to grant us the property, the facilities, and the relevant IP. So we'd like all the courses, we'd like the buildings, and we'd like the ability to run it. I've also said I'm happy to pay the province and the college a significant chunk of money. I just don't want to pay them $12 to $14 million, and I'll just be really clear. This college has never made any money. It's not the fault of the local administration. It's never made any money because there's 20,000 students at Woodruff and there's 200 students there. I run a large organization. Those two things just ain't going to work. They're just apples and oranges. And so out of sort of structural neglect, this place has never made any money. So it's not obvious that it'll work. I think it can work, but I think it'll take $5 to $10 million to make it work. I don't want to pay another 12 to 14 to take the risk that it'll work, only to run a not-for-profit that may go bankrupt because the province tells me I can't do it again, right? So that's what we've asked for. We will incorporate. We have incorporated, so many of you tell yes, as a not-for-profit. I will promise we have enough funds to run the college for 5 to 10 years, and we're building a governance structure. So that's really important. And how wonderful is this? Chris Hahn, who's the former dean who retired, I'm sure he wants to be gardening or doing something more fun, and I have coaxed him back. A credit to his passion and a credit to his interest. Yes, yes. But also just from governance, I don't know how to run a college. Chris really does. So that's really, I'm getting other people in industry, in the heritage industry, in the national trust space, just in academia, people who are interested in innovation, and people with deep ties to the community in politics. So we'll have a fair and transparent board, and we'll run the college with local interests. What are we doing right now, tactically? So a couple things. I've been to Queen's Park probably 8 times. Again, thank you, John Jordan. I've talked to almost every minister that I should be talking to. They get the message, but they also say we have to do some things. One of the things they've suggested is that we should stand up what's called a TDA. That's a training and delivery agency. It's under the auspices of the Ministry of Skills, Training and Development, Minister Piccini. He says if we can do that, then they can endorse us, and then potentially we can sort of sideways into the college, okay? So we're starting the Perth Academy of Building Arts and Science Restorative Masonry Program intake in a couple of months. If we can do it shorter, we will. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Shout out to the Masons that I see here, and specifically Paul Moret, who's one of the architects behind this. Fantastic, thank you very much. And the nice thing, I thought Paul was going to sort of do it as a favor, but he's like, no, this is a great thing. I've got Masons that are underskilled that could easily, with some training, write their red seal. So this is perfect, especially in the winter when often masonry goes fallow, right? So this is, and that's what a TDA is for. And I hope Minister Piccini will see this and fast track our approval. The Red House. Okay, so this is actually another thing that I got involved through Chris Hahn. So I don't know if everybody knows the story of the Red House. It's the first house ever erected in Perth, 1816, maybe Ron Shaw will correct all this later, 1816. And it was then painted red because the Duke of Richmond said, hey, this would look good red. And then he expired, either of rabies or consumption. No one really knows. And I think it should be put up, and Algonquin thought it should be put up until they abandoned the community, and then they left it in their backyard. So now it's in another backyard. It's in my old man's backyard. And we've got a couple of carpenters, heritage carpenters, who are meticulously archiving and noting and videoing this building. And we were going to put it up. The town has agreed, surprisingly, but they have agreed to put it sort of right behind Coots on the Water. So it's going to become like an information center, like a living, sort of breathing museum. You can walk in. It'll have tons of tourist traffic. Yeah. What's that? Isla was born in that. Isla, one of the Masons, was born in that house. That's wonderful. Yeah. You look younger than 211 years old. This is the kind of thing that we can do with a college that has the flexibility and the local concern. They wouldn't have done it. Like I said, let's partner with they're like, that's not the thing we do. But now if the college is a community college, think of the things we could do. The old shoe, the soap factory, the jail. There's tons of things we could fix up for public buildings that are essentially would be like the McMartin House, a building that everybody could use, right? And what a boon to the community that could be. All right, that's what we can do. What can you do? I'll say it again. Showing up like this goes a long, long way. The college will listen. The province will listen when they see a room full of passionate people who really care about this. The signs, please take signs, put them on your lawn, put them on your neighbor's lawn. Maybe don't do that, I don't know, that's up to you. Writing letters and making calls to the Minister of Education. That would be exceptionally helpful. There's links on our website. And to the President of Algonquin. That would be very helpful. And tell them why. Tell them in your own words why you think this is an incredible asset for the community.